Welcome back to Movement Project. Tim Mentor, Doctor of Physical Therapy. If you clicked on this video, you're looking for a kneeling hip flexor stretch with rotations, and we're about to get into it. Why do we want to rotate as we stretch our hip flexors? Well, throughout the day, we're not just moving in a straight plane. We're moving, we're reaching, we're turning. Whether it's daily activities or it's sports, we're never just straight ahead. We're always moving around, looking for things around us. Our hips, our spine, our entire body needs to be able to rotate and move throughout the environment. So when we do our exercises, when we do our stretches, we want to make sure we're moving like we are in real life. So going into this hip flexor stretch, really any stretch for that matter, we don't just want to be going straight forward. So what we're going to do here is start off by tightening the glutes, tightening your stomach, and then just try to drive this hip straight forward toward the wall. And almost immediately you should feel a pulling sensation in the front of your hip. So to prepare us for all of the challenges of life and sports, we want to add rotation to our hip flexor stretch so that we have good hip mobility, good spine mobility. We're not setting our spine up for injury, disc herniations, and things of that nature. So when we drive forward after tightening our stomach, tightening our glutes, we're going to add rotation toward this lead leg. We'll hold that for 10 seconds. We'll back off. We're going to go straight forward. We're going to hold the straight plane movement for 10 seconds. And then once you've completed that, you'll back off. You'll add rotation to the left. Hold that for 10 seconds. And each of these stretches is putting a different strain on your hip capsule. So any stretch you're doing, you're stretching out the joint and the ligaments and also the muscles. There's more to the hip flexor than just the hip. Keep in mind that muscle runs up and attaches into your spine, as we've commented in our other hip flexor videos. Click above to check out my hip flexor fix video. Now, because of that attachment, we want to make sure that we're keeping the spine extended when we do this. Abdominals are tight so our pelvis doesn't rotate, and our butt is tight so our pelvis doesn't rotate. Now, another thing to consider is that the hip flexors are so often recommended to be stretched because of all the sitting that we do. Well, the other thing that tightens is our stomach muscles. So if we can add some arm elevation when we do this, that's going to further lengthen that hip flexor muscle. Immediately I feel that stretch increase down in my hip. I can add some side bending away from the hip that increases that stretch more. I can add my rotations from there. All of those tweaks will further increase that stretch and give you more gains. Now make sure you've started with the basic stretches before you advance to these more advanced tweaks to further stretch that hip flexor. And we drive forward again. We add rotation toward this lead leg. We hold this for 10 seconds. I tighten my abdominals. I tighten my glutes on this hip flexor side that I'm stretching. Then I switch to straight forward for an additional 10 seconds. Once I've completed that direction, I switch to the side that we're stretching. Hold this for 10 more seconds, trying not to lose that abdominal tightening and that hip tightening, that glute tightening. And then we back off. I recommend taking each leg through 3 sets of 30 seconds total, where you do 10 seconds to the side of the hip you're stretching, 10 seconds straight forward, and 10 seconds away. Totaling 30 seconds, 3 sets each. Try to do that at least once a day until you feel like your mobility is where you'd like it to be. You always want to follow these stretches with strengthening exercises to reinforce the movements that you've added with the flexibility. So make sure you click on my link to watch the hip flexor fix video. I hope you found this video helpful to improve your hip flexor mobility. If you're new to the channel, remember, please hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications. If you want to feel, perform, and live your best, you've got to move your best. Keep it moving.